Here we have an Audi A6 2004-5 model, and it's having problems with its HVAC valving unit controlling the water flow to the heating and cooling system. Fairly common problem. It jams open or shut, causing it to pump really hot air in. Now this isn't really good on a hot summer's day in Australia, so need to fix it. Firstly, you must ensure that this is done when the engine's cold. First thing you do, make sure there's no pressure in the system, because if you start pulling things off and there's pressure in the system, it's going to spurt out hot fluid. Right, having done that, no pressure in the system, put that back on, make sure it's tightened down. With one click, the actual valving system is underneath this, so it's the rubber seal. I've removed it already. Lifts off and removes out. Now here's your little offending article down here. These two little cylinders and pistons are the culprits. Now if you look down there, you don't want to drop anything. I have an idea of how we can make it a bit safer, and I'm going to share it with you. Right, what I've done is I've got a supermarket bag, cut the bottom off it, put a rubber band around it, and actually fitted it like a elastic restrainer around there, so if anything does fall, it will go into the plastic bag and not fall down there. That's a theory, at least. Let's see if it works in practice. Now, the other thing you'll need, if you notice, they're not normal screws, so you need a T10 driver. So here you have it, T10 driver, or Torx driver. You can pick these up fairly easily off eBay, as I did. Now there's 6 screws down there, 2 on either end and 2 in the middle. Firstly remove. Another great little tool I've devised is getting a rare earth magnet, putting it in the jaws of my grabber, and when the screw's just about out, especially for tight positions, put it down there, lifts it out. Perfect. I also use another rare earth magnet, and I magnetise the head of my T10 tool so that when I'm putting them back, it will hold in the tool. A lot easier. Now the fun bit. All that stuff's taken off now. So gently, and I mean gently, lift these up. Now they're 2 individual pistons. As you lift it up, be careful not to have anything come out. That's the inside of it. That's a piston inside. We'll have a look at that firstly. I put everything in a bucket, and that way it's not going to fall down anywhere. Now, this is why you don't want to drop anything. You've got little springs down there, and there's a spring inside there which will come out later, and that's one of your pistons there. We'll have a look at that soon. Again, in the bucket. Now your magnetic tool, very attractive little piece of equipment. I'll get your spring out for you without dropping anything, and that little puppy's not going anywhere, let me tell you. Now underneath all that, I've just lifted them off, those 2. Be careful, there's 2 washers in the top of that. You'll find how to get into it. 2 little holes there. Now each of those holes, without sunlight, there's one of these in it. They sit pointing down and control the flow. So we need to clean those up as well. Okay, I've got a few things out there. I've got 2 pistons and the 2 valves. we're going to clean up the seating of the valves too. Not very good at focusing this, but around the seating where that shiny edge is, there is some residue build-up. We're going to put them both in a solution of white vinegar. Now what this does is we'll remove any scaling off it. If there's any scaling on there, that will go. Then we'll move to the next step and make sure it's all polished up and clean and ready to refit. Okay, the other side of it is, of course, we'll call them the cylinders, where the pistons actually slide. Now inside here, the hole in the middle is where they actually slot into. They again have some residue in there, so you can repeat the process. And I don't know if you can actually see anything in there, but they are quite coated. So that in itself will cause some grief. So if you can clean those up, try again with the white vinegar first, and then you can progress to something a little bit more harsh if that's not going through. Cotton buds, again, down there, make sure you get any residue from the cotton buds out. Give them a good rinse afterwards, and they're right to go back in too. It's also just a reverse assembly process, so you just put things in as you took them out. So we'll see how it goes and see where we go. Okay, I've soaked those for a while, but nothing seemed to be coming off too much, so a little bit more aggressive approach. What I've used is some worn, and I emphasise worn, 2000 grit wet and dry. Now it's so worn that you can barely feel which side's the rough and which side's not. Okay, I have found a drill bit which is a 2764. Probably can't see that, you have to take my word on that one. Now, very, very important, make sure around the end where it goes in the drill, because that's the end you're using, there is no burring. You don't want it to score the cylinder. So no burring. If you can get one with a dome on it, even better still. What you do is you do one wrap of the wet and dry around it, overlap it over the ends and tuck it in. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, what you've effectively done there is honed the cylinders. Very light hone, but remember, with a hone you're taking off metallic parts of the cylinder, so give it a good rinse afterwards. You don't want any of that left in between your piston and your cylinder, so a really good rinse, and then you're right to reassemble. Okay, there we go. Now, nice and smooth, going up and down, nice and easy. If you're wondering what these are, these are your electromagnets. They'll basically put the current through from there, so it activates them up and down. That's how it opens and shuts. So away we go. We'll now assemble it and put everything back together again. You notice that the plastic bag is not on there anymore. It was taken off because it was just a bit too much of an effort to get this bottom bit back on. You can take the plug off. I haven't found it necessary, and in itself it's a bit of a pain in the backside to do. You'd think it'd be easy, but maybe on yours it is. Mine, it just didn't want to play ball at all. Anyway, see how you go with that one. You can play it with that one yourself. Now, just as I was saying before, with the magnet, I rested on torque screw on it, so it will hold on there. It's not super strong, but strong enough for you to locate it in a difficult position and just get it in. Worth a try. Another good hint. And there you go, all back in. Now the important thing to do now is just to start up the motor, get it to operating temperature and check for leaks. And you should be good as gold. Hope this helps someone.